Welcome to the New World Compendium, your source of information here in Aeternum. Come, take a seat, grab a drink, and let us tell you all the news, rumors, and stories from this fantastic island. I'm your host Arkaniir, and I'm joined by two of my great co-hosts, starting with the tech master himself, Stormzlord. How's it going, Storms?
Going good. How's it going with you?
Going great. I'm excited about this. Sort of nervous as well. Also joining us, the radio voice of the show, Sivian. How's it going, Sivian?
Good, how are you? It's been too long.
Almost a year since our last episode.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
we took
It's
a
like-
slight break.
280 something days since the preview event and alpha starting, and we no longer being able to put out a show.
Yeah,
Because
I blame COVID.
I do.
I mean, we could have made shows based on the news articles and alpha patch notes, but we thought, okay, we want to talk about our experience and like test everything hands-on, and didn't want to do an episode without those. So we decided to wait until there is an open testing again, and we really thought there were going to be more preview events between alpha starting and now. Boy, were we mistaken.
Slightly.
8 months of checking my email every day for that invite. Like every morning, did I get an invite now?
Now, there definitely was testing, right? But it was closed alpha testing.
Yeah, it
right?
was.
That
It was under NDA.
You
Correct.
can't disclose.
I think we
Show
still
anything,
can't talk
say
about
anything
that.
yet.
Like alpha testing parts, I think we still that's still under NDA as far as I know.
Yeah, correct.
So
Yep.
I don't think they'll actually ever lift the alpha NDA.
I mean, it's a good
Probably
idea.
not. And if they do,
because-
it's going to be, what, 10 years?
Yeah, probably, right?
Yeah, we are shutting down the servers now. You may talk about alpha.
Yeah. You can show that alpha footage.
Yeah. But yeah, we are really hyped up about this. I've been live for the past 5 hours of the podcast, like before the podcast, just playing around. And there's been some issues, obviously, day one of closed beta launching. The one server I picked went down completely. That was great. I picked a server because I thought it was going to be empty. It turned out to be, it just crashed. Every other server was up. Mine was down for a while.
So they did have, they were doing rolling restarts. Well, you probably saw that when you were playing. They had, the VoIP servers come down, a couple maintenance issues, nothing crazy, which this is one heck of a stress test. I mean, I'm still in queue right now.
Look at the number of people that have, pre-bought this, right? And everybody who pre-bought is able to get in.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, think of it this way, right? That's the reason why they're doing this test, right? It is that
absolutely.
stress test. They're not doing this beta to fine-tune things. This is to make sure, hit the servers as hard as you can, keep them up and going, and beat the crap out of them. Which I think we're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, they kind of succeeded, I think.
So
what queue are you guys in right now? Well, how many? What's the number?
I started at 380.
That's not too
and
bad.
it said 25 minutes, and I'm at 141 and 17 minutes now. So
Yeah, the time
it'll be a minute.
the time is a lie. That's
Yeah.
for me. It was 30 minutes at 200 and 30 minutes at 1,500. So it goes down.
That queue is a lie in any game.
True.
Yeah, pretty
true.
much.
There's
I was
no
on
real
it,
way to
like-
estimate that anyway. It's
I was on at like 2:00 Eastern today, right? Got in like 3 minutes.
Yep.
No problem.
Same.
Now I came down. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll play beforehand. I'm going to go play some Conan. I'm not going to sit in line for that long.
Did you guys get on the WoW Classic when that fired up first?
no, but I remember
3.5 hour wait.
I
Really?
remember my
Whoa.
coworkers queuing up at work, like at noon, from using like TeamViewer and stuff like that, so that they could get in by the time they get back home, eat food, and like, it was insane. Yep. I remember
a Windows remote on your phone.
I'm not that patient.
Yeah, it's not
3 o'clock. I'm done in 2 hours. So I can go there now. Takes me an hour to get home. Nuts.
So now it takes me like maybe 2 minutes to walk upstairs, so I'm okay because I work from home. So my commute is a pain down the stairs.
Thanks to COVID.
Yeah, there you go. Well, now they decided to sell the company, right? Has decided to get rid of a lot of the expensive leases, and they've told IT, you don't have to come back.
There you go.
I'm like,
sounds good.
All right.
Hopefully, more companies will realize that they don't actually have to pay a heck ton of money for the offices and everything, when at least for the jobs that can be done remotely.
They did then.
Right.
So with that, what work?
Let me ask you this, Ark, and Storms. Did you guys join a EU or US East-West server?
I am on EU this time around, at least for the beginning. But once I level up like to a satisfying moment, I will probably join you guys on US East as well, because US East pings seem to be manageable, at least for the moment. But moving forward, like after closed beta, I'm gonna stay EU because I don't want what happened to Elder Scrolls Online to happen here. Yeah. It was fine in the beginning, and with more load, with more players, it became unplayable for me in NA. So
now, what was the ping? Because I think I was looking at that earlier today. It was what, like 150, 180?
To US East, I have around 180, so it's manageable. It's manageable.
It is, but not in a PvP event, right?
It would become a problem in PvP.
So during
just like hang out with
battles,
you guys, it would be okay. Just do shenanigans together.
Yeah.
Who was it in ESO, the Hands of Fate guild? She was in Australia. And she didn't want to play PvP. Yeah. She didn't want to play PvP because she couldn't. So she played the Trials and Dungeons because she memorized when to do what.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that's not going to work for me.
They this time around, they actually have oceanic servers, which is nice. It's rare to have oceanic servers. Like even on Twitter, I saw people really happy that even in a closed beta they got oceanic servers, because that's really a trouble for people in that side of the world. Like they have the same ping to EU and NA, both of which suck. It's equal distance to nightmare.
Yeah, and I mean we get used to the fact that we have US servers, and 9 times out of 10 there's East Coast and West Coast servers, right? And then you start, I want Central, right? Let's talk about the oceanic people. They need some love.
Oh yeah. So I guess it makes sense though, because AVS is everywhere. They exist everywhere in the world now. So if they hadn't opened an oceanic server, it would have been just rude, Yeah, we have data centers globally, but we are not going to give you a server there to play. That would have been a rude move.
They could exploit those same areas and put stuff in.
All right, so news. Well, or rather, what has changed sort of since our last episode, which was all the way before the 8-month alpha testing of this game. And a lot has changed. So they pushed back the release of the game from spring 2021, which would have been several months ago, to next month, August 31st. And during that time, they really wanted to fine-tune a lot of things, especially combat-related. They wanted to add new game modes, rework the quest designs, add some PvE game modes. So a lot of the things have been going in and out of the game and getting changed. Now, one of the first things they addressed was how the combat in the game played. And obviously we don't have the numbers, but according to them, according to feedback, the combat wasn't flowing as they wanted. And honestly, that was my experience as well during the preview event. Skills used to share cooldowns. across weapons. So if you used your Q skill on your first weapon and swapped your second weapon, your Q skill would still be in cooldown, so you couldn't chain your weapon attacks back to back. Everything staggered. Almost every light attack in the game, both from AI and from players, staggered you. So once you got stun locked, it was almost over. You would lose your cooldown skills.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very hardcore combat, but it just wasn't flowing. Now, I know some players really enjoyed this. I went on to Reddit today to do some reading and on forums, and apparently a good amount of people did enjoy that aspect of it, like the hardcoreness of trying to time everything perfectly so that they don't get staggered or don't get stun locked and everything like that. But
I mean, you can still do that, right? So you, instead of having your cooldowns that transfer off weapons, right? You have your cooldowns off your first weapon, and you have your cooldowns off your second weapon. You now have more combos that you can accomplish. And I think in the alpha preview that was NDA was lifted, it felt hard, right? It just didn't, not hard, sorry. It felt wrong, or just didn't feel right. Because if you're using one weapon, why is my cooldown transferring to the second, right?
Very artificial.
I was just a little confused. It was manageable, but it just was a little confusing. I think it feels great now in this beta. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, and this game has a lot of great skills and animations, and the feedback is really nice. But when you can't chain them back to back, it just felt, as you said, like counterintuitive. Now, as I said, I've been playing for quite a while now. It's like I can go in with Sword and Shield, charge stun, immediately swap the War Axe, do Whirlwind, and an execute. It definitely flows a lot more. And we'll obviously
combat in general just feels so much better. I mean, it just the fluidity of it, and it just feels solid.
I don't constantly get staggered by every mob or player I am fighting, which is nice.
They can, but not all the time, right?
That's not all the time.
The interesting part.
Yeah. It's more like heavy attacks or special skills and whatnot. They will still stagger. You can still cancel people's like special skills unless they unlock like special passive for it that make it unstoppable or whatever. But it definitely flows a lot more, and obviously we'll see with more testing and in like end game PvP how it feels. Maybe in those 50 versus 50 battles, or with the outpost rush 20 versus 20, maybe it will feel worse than how it was. So I can't just now say that okay, this is 100% better, but from what I've played so far, it just feels a lot more fun and smooth than how it was before. And there's a lot more like detailed changes in their patch notes and everything like that, like very specific changes. But we are gonna go into those, I believe, late after the game launches, once all the changes are finalized. Because I don't want to just read through pages of patch notes and everything and then they change it next week after feedback from the beta.
These are configuration changes that you can make and then do a build and test in a week, right? It's not like you're going in and changing code. So I think there's going to be some more changes before actual release.
For sure. But even just small, I guess, quality of life, if you will, changes. So I logged in first time running around in the starter zone, right? Doing my thing. I see a Twitch icon next to a player. I was like, get out of here. So log in, I pull up their info on that player. I was like, that's kind of a neat quality of life ad that they put in. I thought that was kind of cool. And you can't toggle that on and off. Just if you weren't aware, you can toggle that off.
Well, you'd hope to in PvP, you can toggle that off, right? Wait, he's behind there. I'm going to go this way.
Exactly.
Unless you have running around with my Twitch thing toggled on, basically. I don't know if anyone actually saw it and join the stream or not, but it's definitely a neat addition.
It's not a bad thing.
I joined a couple.
From a large scale, way upside with alpha versus the last preview versus this. If I remember correctly, the story was you were going from the old world to the new world.
Mm-hmm.
As in, you went all the way to what was the new world, America and whatever, right? Did they add this island bit to it, or did I just misunderstand it?
No, it's always
because now
been
you're going
island.
to an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, it's always been an island that's just not on any maps, and it's covered by this magical storm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there were some lore changes.
I know there were lore
early
changes.
on, right?
Because they used to attack our Aborigines of North America, right? So maybe that was a bad thing.
Right. So there was some lore changes, but I believe it's always been an island thing.
Okay.
I do believe.
That's cool.
So
I mean, the game
who
did
lost
get
the job on that one.
about its aesthetic and story initially, for sure. Yeah, it's sort of like the Discovery era.
And Ark, I don't know if you have. We'll have to put a picture up there of the map all zoomed out. It's still small. What we can see.
We're still not ready for the full map, right? It's still just a beta map. Yeah.
It's the same map we had, I think.
Was bigger than the previous alpha map. The alpha map, it's a bigger one now. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even look at the beta map yet. I'm sure it's even bigger, but the actual release, they're going to make it even bigger.
I don't know.
I would imagine. I mean, just looking at it,
they could obviously add to it later on, and they added. So since the preview event, they actually announced 2 new biomes. One is Reekwater, which is the swampy, ghosty area, and the other is Ebon something Castle Chateau.
I wonder what size limitations they have, right? Being that it's Lumberyard and Crypt, I'm not sure what the limitation is. When it comes to Unreal 4, there are definite limitations to the map size, right? That's why Conan had to go to a new map. They ran out, right?
They can do it with this as well, I guess. Just like separate the map with something, and you just go through a portal or maybe a gate, puts you in a loading screen.
Right, but everything, every dungeon, everything, right, has to be on the map somewhere. That's why if you look at Conan and there's a bunch of blank areas, that's where your oceans or whatever, that's where your dungeons are, and that's where your, vaults are and all this sort of stuff. Because you have to have it on the map somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Lumberyard, I don't know the difference, though.
They could just instance it out, load you into a different map.
I don't know if that's the way it works with Lumberyard. I know with Unreal you can't.
Yeah, I never used
Lumberyard. Unreal you can't do that. You have to be on the map. You can do it to a different part of the map, but it's got to be somewhere on the map you can see. Lumberyard, I haven't done enough to know if that's possible to put you to a different map.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, right now it's
interesting.
It's still not that big a map. I don't think they'll run out anytime soon, at least.
Agreed. I agree.
But I mean, if they can make Star Citizen with the entire friggin' planets and full planetary surfaces in Lumberyard, which doesn't really perform well, but at least it launches.
There's tricks and you can do different things, right? But you have to be careful how you do it. But anyways, that's just, to me, it was interesting.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see. But it definitely, one reason the map feels so big is we are still so slow. We are still
That's
so
why I like
slow.
The spiritual stones or whatever, the spirit stones, right? I like that. Mm-hmm. I gotta earn more of that stuff.
The Azoth.
But we need mounts. We just need mounts. It's just insanely slow.
Yeah, and I was gonna bring that up as well. Have they talked about caravan type system or mounts at all?
Nothing that I've
portals.
Heard.
I have anything about mounts.
I mean, it's the same system as before. Basically, you can fast travel using Azoth, that currency. So
right.
But my friend did say they were considering mounts, but he didn't give a source because he was just in chat while I was streaming, so I don't actually know. But we'll
Bob
see.
Down the road.
Yeah. So to finalize the combat stuff, without going into too many details, I'm just gonna read the bullet points from the article that they released for Jam Fury, just to like show what their vision for the combat is, even though it's definitely going to change and evolve over time. So, skill-based, action-oriented, visceral and high impact, depth of system and builds. That's what they're going for. This is their basically bullet points for the combat they want to achieve. And what did they do to achieve this is stun lock from light attack spam against either players or AI combatants isn't fun. So this is, and then a whole paragraph of explaining why they changed that. Player wants to use their abilities more, aka goodbye global cooldown, as we talked about, they changed that. So they improved weapon block and hit skill detection, which is, always, you can always improve on that forever and ever, and it will always get better. Weapon balancing, obviously, the hatchet is the first thing that's mentioned. Hatchet was the nightmare of a lot of people during the preview event. AI was able to interrupt players too frequently. Yes, that was annoying. Healing other players is surprisingly hard. I hadn't noticed this because I didn't use a life staff during the preview event, but I'm not surprised. Body blocking makes range damaging consistent in group play, which makes sense, but I would have preferred if that stayed the way it is. So if your ally is in the way of your arrow, it should not go through, in my opinion. Yeah. That's just a fun part of action combat. So these are the things they've been working on throughout alpha, and they will be working out throughout the beta, and that's why they've been doing the changes that they've been doing, and I think it went in a better direction with this. So again, we'll see the PvP impacts of it as we progress further and get more into PvP this closed beta and after the launch. The other thing they did, which they say they did, but I didn't see the effects of it, is updates on quest design. So
it didn't feel like that much had been done.
Nothing. Well,
at least maybe I haven't seen it, right? I haven't gotten there yet.
NPCs are voiced, which I'm loving.
True. Yep.
That's amazing. That I am really happy with the voiced NPCs. It adds so much for me, especially since I've been spoiled by Elder Scrolls Online with almost every rock and tree being voiced. But quests, otherwise, to me, they are just, unless they didn't roll the changes into at least the starting levels or closed beta, they are the same. I mean, it says quest variety and new objectives. But I'm still killing like 7 mobs and then trying to find 5 chests over and over again. So in that regard, for me, at least in the first 12th level, nothing's changed yet. But again, maybe it's down the road, maybe it's more main quest line, main story focused. So we'll see. But quest variety, for me, it stays the same. I'm still hunting 5 turkeys, 7 enemies, open 3 chests.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kill 5 boar.
Yeah, kill 5 boar and skin 7 of them. Bring it back. It's just like fetch quests for the sake of, getting the good stuff. The like loot and experience from the quests, which it is what it is. This is not meant to be a PvE story-based game to begin with. So,
well, I think they've changed that. I think at the beginning it wasn't. I really think they have.
They are trying to change it, but it's going to be a long road. Like going from a pure PvP game and changing that direction to involve more PvE mid-development. That's not something you can do over the course of like just 6 months,
No, it's
not. It's gonna require a lot of work, but they have been working towards it, and they introduced expeditions, which are basically 5-player instance dungeons. basically dungeons in any other MMORPG, where you go in with a fixed group, you fight waves of enemies, multiple bosses, and reach the end, collect your rewards. And for our video watchers, there's actually a video playing on the sort of like an elite fight video. And I'm really, really happy about this, because even if you are playing this just for the PvP, I feel like having a dungeon mechanic just to do with your friends every now and then is a good thing, is a fun thing. You can hone your skills, you can test out different builds, you can just have shenanigans, maybe challenge runs. Okay, we are gonna go in naked, just with weapons, I don't know. Stuff we do in Elder Scrolls Online for random
shenanigans
fun.
Runs are they're group building, they're team building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's nice. It's definitely a good addition. And for starter, we have, I think, a couple, one of which is Emrine Excavation, and then Garden of Genesis. One is level 25, and the other one is level 60. And I don't think I'll get to play the 61 during the closed beta, unless I no-life this, as I'm hoping to, but I don't know if I'll be able to. But yeah, 5-player dungeons, definitely something I want to do. And this is something I would be able to play with you guys in US East servers as well. Even if I can't do PvP due to the ping, this will definitely be a lot more manageable than doing PvP against players. So
hands up. Now,
next week,
one of the things that I noticed as well is it feels like they also did a performance update. I'm getting actually a little bit more FPS than I can recall in the preview.
I changed my GPU between the preview event and now, so I can't say for sure, but I've read in chat, like in-game global chat, people were happy about how the game was performing compared to before. So you might
must have optimized something, but I'm running the same GPU that I was in the preview, and I'd love to have a new one. Thank you, scalpers. But
yeah.
I am noticing a performance upgrade, so it does feel like it's running a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. And it makes sense. I mean, over the 6 months, if they hadn't done any extra optimizations, that would have been not good. So at the moment, for how the game looks, it really, really runs really nicely. Like the game is gorgeous, and
it really looks
good.
really well, and it runs very well.
Absolutely does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it runs great. Something also the cash shock, or I guess the
controversy.
Yeah, but then also like with that, what is it in your character screen, right? So you've got, trying to think, your store, so you can buy weapons or weapon skins, consumables, emotes, housing items. Also company crests. I thought that was kind of interesting. So you'll be able to design your own company crest, and I'm assuming, right, that it's going to be something like... You can actually
design it right now. Like there are multiple... Yeah.
Correct.
It's just going to add extra fancy stuff, I guess. Yeah.
Right. Fancy ones, I guess, if you will. But yeah, I wasn't sure. I heard people saying that you could buy weapons in there, which I haven't seen any. It looks like you can just buy skins for weapons.
Yeah. I think people made some assumptions based on images and went out, crazy.
Correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, I mean, people love to immediately bash. It's sort of like a bandwagon of hating MMOs and anything new.
It's an art form.
I guess nostalgia plays a huge part in that as well. People, having played these MMOs that they spent years and years on, and something new comes by, they immediately like, I'm loyal to what I know, and I will hate you nonetheless, regardless of what you are. And when Amazon they announced the in-game store, people didn't even look at that's what I saw. People didn't even look at the contents of it. They were immediately like, yep, in-game store, this is gonna suck. There they go, they sold out. It's expecting no in-game store in 2021 from an online MMORPG or any online game is ridiculous at this point. It is what it is. If a game doesn't have an in-game store, great, fantastic. But expecting, it's an industry standard now. Microtransactions are an industry standard in gaming, and we gotta accept that. The thing is, the separation is how they balance it with the in-game stuff. Pay to win, always against it. We'll always hate it. We'll always talk against it. But cosmetic stuff to help early players after the game goes on for like 5 years so they can catch up to current player base, like experience scrolls or potions or whatever. Those things are fine. My separation is, do they take content away from the game and put it into store? If I have collectibles in the game, if I can get costumes, if I can get like skins, weapon skins, whatever, all those things that are sold in the store, in the game, at least versions of it, and I can buy different things at the store, I'm okay with it.
Their forum had a good little blurb about what's in the store, what they can get in game, and show the differences, right? You can get cosmetic skins, armor, in the store, in the game. They're not the same, but you can get them in different ways. So if you can't do it, you can get it in game. If you're like me and you don't have umpteen hours to play, you can then buy some things too.
I'm going to read a little bit from, there's an article here, and I'm just going to take a couple lines from it from International Business Times. It's actually done today. And the creative director, David, spoke with Eurogamer to clarify some of the community's concerns over how New World is monetized, right? This EXP boost, right? Experience boost. And one of the comments was that, I'll just read this. The exclusive experience boost to trade skills in particular had players worried over the fairness of progression, as much as New World best equipment at the time were locked behind the game's crafting system, which is what we want, right? So with this, the pay-to-win feature, the emphasis is on cosmetics. That's all we will be doing at launch. Excuse me. That's what he said. However, he also mentioned that they want to add more than just cosmetic items to the game in the future. So they mentioned that there's room for quality of life improvements when in the form of a pay-to-win territory. So they're not using that terminology, but I think there's going to be some aspects of it. Well, and I remember hearing somewhere that someone from the Amazon or New World team had said that, it's hard for people that work all day and only have kids, have a busy life, but still want to enjoy the game and not get owned, right?
Yep.
So I get that. I understand that, being a full-time worker, a father of children, a husband. I mean, I do have a little bit of time where I can play. I'm not like I used to in my late teens when I was in college, right? So I get that, but it's also that journey. You're taking away from that journey to end game. So kind of torn a little bit there.
Well, the thing is, I mean, every company will test the waters with their in-game store.
Sure.
See what they can put out there, how much
get away with.
Yeah, how much they can get away with. That's the nature of the job. That there's whole groups of people employed to make that happen, make as much money as possible without causing as major PR problems. There's a whole group of people. You had an
interesting comment, Sivian, about the journey, right? Because what I like about cash shops or what I like about experience boosts, and that is I can set my own journey, right? If I don't want to do that, I don't have to, right? But if, like you said, I've got busy, I got this going on, got that going on, all this other stuff. If I want to get to end game, I can do it that way. I don't always. Like, for instance, some of them, like ESO, I don't buy them because I've been playing since a long time ago, right? But things like, what is it? Genshin. I've been started playing a little bit of Genshin Impact. I do just because I haven't played a long time. I only got to level 16, and it's something I enjoy, and I don't want to spend as much time on that as I did ESO. So it's a balance, right? I am anticipating with New World, I will spend less on that experience boost because I will be doing the journey myself. But I don't know. Let's wait and see, right?
Yeah, and
here's the thing.
I think that's why I say I'm a little torn about it.
Yeah,
because I get it from that aspect of people are busy. I mean, it's
except we also don't want to play games all day.
Yeah. Except Ark.
I mean, here's the thing. Like we are at the beginning of this journey. We are here from day one. We are going to start the journey from day one. But think about Elder Scrolls Online, for example. All of us sort of play. Yeah. It's been going for 7 years. Now, I've been playing Elder Scrolls Online since beta. We've been doing Tales of Tamriel podcast about Elder Scrolls Online for 277 episodes. And if I entered Elder Scrolls Online right now, there's 50 levels, 3,600 champion points to earn. Enormous map, hundreds of hours to catch up to an end game player. Like if you're in the beginning of the journey, you might think, well, experience scrolls and things that will help new players might affect the journey. But looking into future, once New World is 3, 4, 5 years old, and level cap is increased, I don't know, maybe to 100 from the 60 that it currently is, that journey will become daunting without something to help the new players, some sort of like a catch-up mechanic. Now, they can either implement that into the game, maybe early on you get more experience or something like that, sort of make it progress, or they are gonna add in experience scrolls or stuff like that to the store, make some money off of it for anyone who is willing. And I'm looking at the article and I'm trying to see, I kind of remember reading that along with all those things, there's going to be some sort of in-game counterpart as well. So if there is experience scroll in the store, there's going to be an experience potion of sorts in the game type thing. So the people always find a way, right? For instance, before ESO added those scrolls to the store, one of my sons, right, was working 13, 14 hours a day, has a daughter, he was married, right? He's like, Dad, could you do me a favor? I said, I don't have any money. He said, that's okay. He said, could you just play my tank a couple times a day so I can build my tank up? I'm like, okay, I'll do that, right? So we don't say who it was, but I played his tank in some dungeons every day just so his tank could get leveled up because he wanted to do that. I'm like, so people will find a way to do what they need to do.
Absolutely. And that whole level up, or I guess that experience boost, right? Remember when they released the pre-orders for New World, and it was Isabella's amulet. That was the big thing, right? And you gain additional. I
forgot about that
now. Equipping Isabella's amulet to gain additional constitution to weather attacks and deal additional damage against certain types of supernatural enemies. Right? It wasn't that specific before. It was just saying that you had a combat advantage in a way. I can't remember the exact verbiage, but I mean, it's people are like, oh, it's pay to win. I mean, I guess in a sense.
By the way,
my
Beltia queue is now down to less than a minute. And it's been
there you go. You're almost
maybe
there.
10 minutes since I turned it on. So
I mean, the pay to win line depends on the people as well. For example, some people believe that the content that gets added with an expansion, a paid expansion or a DLC to the game, is also pay to win. Like they add new item sets into the game with a new dungeon DLC in Elder Scrolls Online. And if it's good, people call it pay to win. If it's bad, people call it like, well, they added new content, but it sucks. And it's there's no winning.
People even say, furniture and cosmetics are pay to win. If that's what you do, is you do cosmetics and, that's pay to win. So you make up whatever you want fashion, to say pay to win.
So that's why I'm saying, like, in-game store is they will test the waters, and if they can get away with it, they will do it. And at the end of the day, the company doesn't decide, the player base decides. If they put out an item and 85% of the player base buys it, then you are in the minority who hates it, and sorry, but your opinion no longer matters.
Well, they don't have lockboxes yet, right?
Oh god, please. Okay, Play New World. Actually, they were in chat just now.
Yeah. Look what happened with ESO, right?
No lockboxes, please. That's
when Microsoft bought them, they changed the way they worked with lockboxes, right? Because of that whole, they said, okay, well, then you have to be able to get some in game. They will come up with lockboxes here. The question is, eventually, when, and are they going to balance it with something else?
Yeah.
If you give Bezos more time and space, they'll give you a lockbox. I don't know.
Well, I really don't like. I'm okay with in-game stores, but I really don't like lockboxes at all. So hopefully, even if they add lockboxes, they follow after what ESO did after Microsoft acquisition, as you said, and add a way to get the items in there through in-game activities. Even if it takes long.
I think they will.
Even if it takes long,
I hope.
Just pull it away from RNG. If I want to spend money, like if I have the money and want to gamble, let's go through RNG. But my RNG is absolutely disastrous in everything I do. And if an item is exclusive to a lockbox or loot box, whatever, I cut it out of my life. I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting that thing. So it really at the end, player base's favor is really important. And I really hope with everything they add in the future, New World maintains the good faith of the player base, even if they push the boundaries, because they are going to, like everyone else.
Well, they will, yeah.
I hope at the end of the day, they retain the faith of the player base, good faith of the player base, and that's because I really, really, really like this game. And I would love to stop playing it out of principle. Like, I could enjoy this game even if it became pay to win, just doing shenanigans. But I would stop playing it out of sheer principle. And I feel like a lot of players also will do so if it goes that way. So,
well, I mean, this even goes as far back as the PvP PvE aspect of it, right? You remember that whole debacle where there really was no flagging. I mean, everybody was flagged for combat. And I can remember times where I was running with a bunch of materials and had people yelling at me in voice chat naked with hatchets. And I mean,
a sight to see.
Honestly, I was killed. I was killed and I lost all my materials and I laughed. Yeah. And I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. But I could see how that would be frustrating and if it kept happening over and over, I'd be like, all right, I gotta call in some recruitments here.
Well, that's why you get a guild, right? And those things continue, you get a guild. Now, the funniest thing in video games was when a tree fell on me in Valheim and killed me. That was the funniest thing.
Been there.
I wish they would do that here, right? But it's just different. You got to think about what you want to do and how you're going to do it.
But that goes back to our culture.
Yes.
I mean, we're a very, everybody wants that instant gratification.
Well,
they don't.
That's a balance, right?
I think PvP's fun. I enjoy it. I love all the aspects of it. But I also enjoy and embrace PvE as well.
So my wife loves PvE. unless you have to kill a bunny or a wolf or something that's cute.
Oh God,
and she doesn't like it. She won't even touch PvP. And not in a 10-foot pole, right? But that's what she wants. So there's different people out there who have different values of what they want to do, right? There's like an MMO, it's called Sky, right? That they love playing this game. They run away from the bosses. They're trying to hide and get all this different stuff. I'm like, I have to run to the boss, not away. But people have different ways of doing it. And this game is going to fit a niche of players, whether it's PvP, PvE, but it's obviously going to push some of the pure PvP people out, some of the pure PvE people out to try and get a balance between the two.
Yeah. And it's a hard balance.
Yeah,
I mean, because you're
so.
making one happy and the other one mad, and people are very passionate about their gameplays, and they should be. I mean, that's what you enjoy and what you want to relax and unwind.
This is your hobby. This is what you're doing for fun. So you want to be able to do what you want to do, which is why MMOs draw a lot of people in. You're not on rails. You can do what you want to do, right? So.
And it goes back to the comment you made, Storms, where, be in a guild, right? If you want to be solo in a game like this,
it's a tough luck.
You're going to need to enjoy PvP or learn to enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I would have enjoyed it either way.
Being a part of a group. I mean, that's what a MMORPG is.
Yes. That's why I didn't like companions in ESO. You need a group to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed it either way, with full-on PvP and the way it currently is. But I can see a lot of issues with full-on PvP. Even if you go with even if you are okay with the aspect, or if you have a group to play with, it's so open to just one player group dominating the entire thing and making it bad for everybody else. Even if you have a guild, and even if you have, it's so subjectable
Atlas
to just one player group.
Pure PvP, and one player group did just that, right? So you had a group of us on one island, right? A streamer had like 1,000, 2,000 followers, and on Atlas you can have very large groups, right? Rolled over the 4 surrounding islands, and I mean rolled over, just slaughtered everybody, because it was pure PvP. No matter what you did, you can't knock it out.
Didn't matter.
But again, I play it, but not for that reason. So it was a delicate balance. I wasn't really sure I'd like it pure PvP. I really enjoy. I know we had some discontent last time we talked about this, but the ability to be in a settlement and say, now I want to do PvP. And now I don't want to do PvP, right? Because sometimes I enjoy the PvP part. I really do. Sometimes I want to just not do that. I want to go do other stuff and not think about that. But it depends.
Sure. But in a PvP environment, right? If I like that aspect where you're going out to farm and do things, but I'm in a video game and I'm watching my back. Where I'm like, all right, do I hear somebody? Tarkov.
And other games coming up that we won't talk about, the same thing. We're going to enjoy that because we're in a guild, and we're going to have those that craft and those that surround the crafters, right? You plan for that.
Yeah,
it depends what you want to do. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah,
and I do like the fact that with your factions, you can do PvP quests.
Very much so.
They're missions. Sorry.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been running around today.
Yep.
For 6 hours, I've been running around with my PvP. Well, since I got into a faction, basically, I've been running around with my PvP enabled, and I ran away from one group of 3 people, 3 covenants. They squeezed me into a corner, and I managed to sneak my way out of it. And then I got destroyed by a group of syndicate because I didn't realize they were not dueling. It was like 2 versus 2 between Marauder and Syndicate, and there was another person just watching them, which later on I realized he had his PvP disabled. That's why he was watching. But because someone was watching, I just went there and I stood there for a second, like, are they dueling? Should I get involved. What is the ethics of the situation?
What
While I
are the
was
ethics?
thinking that, I
What are you
learned the
doing?
ethics of the situation. They turned around and smacked me to oblivion.
But you learned, didn't you?
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, if you can still have quite a bit of PvP if you are interested in that. Just you want open world PvP, gather your group, go into the enemy territory. And you will roll into another PvP group there, or someone in their faction chat. Like, just kill a couple people, and someone in their faction chat will scream your location, and there will be a group of PvP-enabled players coming right after you. So I don't think the current opt-in way, especially now that they are adding more rewards and more incentives to having your PvP enabled, there's still going to be a good number of people having their PvP enabled, especially in the end game zones. And there won't be that much griefing, basically, that there would have been if it was just like, I can almost see a major player group surrounding towns with no opt-in, like pure open world PvP, surrounding towns and not letting anyone get out. Just basically walling it out with enough players. I mean, think about it. Someone like Asmongold, for example, he can roll in enough players to like cover an entire server probably by himself. So he can just, like, not that he would do it, but there are people with enough player bases that they can ruin the player experience for thousands of people just by themselves.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Now, and apparently Asmongold, Tim the Tapman, and Courage JD are all on the same server, and they're all did that again?
You did it in the preview event too. We picked the server with Asmongold.
I'm not on that server.
Oh, you are not on there? Okay, I thought you were. No. I was like, you did that again?
I didn't even mean to do it for the first time.
Yeah, when the official launch goes, gotta look into like who's where, major streamers, and either go into there if you want to hang out with them or go against them as a challenge, or just like, not touching that.
Or have healthy queue times.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't think there will be that many queue times once this officially launches, though. I think they'll manage to... Well, I guess it depends on the scaling, because even if they have the full server capacity, there's got to be a balance of numbers for what they're planning for the territory fights. So
I can see a question in chat right now. If you're cornered, can you toggle off PvP and walk out?
No.
There is a cooldown, yeah?
You can only toggle on and off your PvP in settlements.
Yeah.
So once you are out of the town, with your PvP toggle on,
you're locked
that's
in.
it.
Yeah.
You are locked in until someone kills you or you are back in town again. So that's pretty neat.
Any town.
And you have to go to is it any town, right?
Any settlement.
Any settlement. Yeah, major, like
you don't have to be that original one. It's just in a settlement you make that choice.
Yeah, you make that decision and you leave. That's your decision.
Then you make that decision and you leave. Absolutely.
It also gives you a 30-second like protection once you exit the gate, so people can't like just snipe you as you step off the gate. But yeah. Now, there are some new PvP stuff. Their goals, PvP goals, are to basically for PvP and PvE to complement each other. Work together, benefit each other and things like that. And you are sort of getting that by getting extra XP, getting territory standing bonuses, territory influence when you do stuff with your PvP enabled, even if you are just killing monsters and things like that. I don't know what doing PvP adds to PvE just yet, haven't gotten there. And they're adding some new PvP features too. So they're adding faction control points, which, remember those big forts in the territories?
In each region, right? Yeah.
That were only doing something when you were in a war, basically.
Correct.
Now you can actually capture them in general, and they will provide buffs and bonuses.
As long as you're in a PvP mode, that would work,
So, for example, I'm going to read this just to get the facts right.
Yeah, because I haven't.
Since
I haven't
other
heard
major
this.
PvP activities like Wars and Outpost Rush are scheduled or instanced, we wanted to create PvP hotspots in the open world to help foster and concentrate PvP. We also felt that the forts found in each region were underutilized, and we wanted to give players reasons to adventure into these locations outside of wars. We have turned each region's fort into a PvP control point that will provide both territory and global rewards for the controlling faction. These faction control points will give players a way to engage in open world PvP that directly benefits their faction. So you can always go into a fort outside of war or rush or whatever and battle it out.
So it doesn't matter whether your faction owns it or the other two factions own it. You can still capture that.
Yeah.
That I like.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
At least that's the wording I get.
Sure. We need to test that out.
So apparently you will immediately be PvP flagged to enter them. Or no, wait.
Sure.
It will require you to be PvP flagged to enter them. So.
Okay, so you have to be out of a settlement running to there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're smart, you try and cut off reinforcements and.
Yeah. See, that's the beauty of it. Like there can be plays like that.
Yeah.
You know, people planning it beforehand. Okay, 20-player group, we are going to capture the control point. This 10-player group will just cut the as you said, reinforcements.
Yeah, exactly. And the point of interest and cut them off.
Think about Elder Scrolls Online's Cyrodiil, like open world PvP. When someone is attacking a castle or a keep, they first go send small groups to tag the connecting forts so people can teleport to it because it's now under attack. They cut it off first, so people have to run all the way through the map to actually defend the place. So you can definitely get some sort of plays like that, which is nice.
That'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun.
There's obviously territory control incentives, more resource cards that you can access in each settlements that you control and things like that. So your storage will be accessible from territories that you control. So if you control more territories, you have to run less for your bank basically. Stuff that will provide small amounts of crafting materials to the faction members. Fast travel, like cheaper fast travel stuff, I guess. Gathering volume, luck, more. Basically, there's a whole bunch of territory control incentives. And there's the Outpost Rush, which sound really, really fun. This is probably going to be my favorite PvP mode. It's 20 versus 20, end game PvP/PvE game mode. So what happens is this. It's sort of instance, you start at two opposite sides of the map. There are 3 outposts in the middle, and you have to basically take control of these outposts. The thing is, in the meantime, you can gather resources to build up these outposts, increase the defenses, build siege engines, or craft ammunition or potions for your allies. And the more you hold these outposts and the more you kill enemy players, you gain 1 point for your group. The group that reaches X amount of points wins. What I like about this is that you could be a complete crafter resource gatherer player, and you can still be beneficial to Outpost Rush. And I really like that. Yep.
Yeah.
You can just gather, I don't know, you maxed out your gathering skill, you can gather insane amount of resources really fast.
Sure.
Just do that. Just take someone with you to protect you maybe from someone, I don't know, ganking or something. Just gather wood, stone, iron, whatever needed, and build up this fort as fast as possible so it's defendable. And I really, really like that you can contribute regardless of your play style to this. It's
What was the size on that arc?
20 versus 20.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And this is, you can either join solo to this or as a 5-player, maximum of 5-player group. So it's not like one group of 20 players just can take up the entire spot either. there's going to be at least 4 groups of players that has to communicate with each other, coordinate with each other, and not just like one big group of 20. I think these are also scheduled though, because in the early, I thought these were not going to be scheduled like matchmaking type things. You would be able to always do these, but early on it said PvP activities like Wars and Outpost Rush are scheduled or scheduled or instanced. So Wars are scheduled, Outpost Rush is instanced. Instanced. There you go, the word.
Well, the Wars are scheduled, right, to be within a window.
Yeah.
Right? Because they didn't want, a territory to be taken over at 2-3 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast when most people are sleeping.
Oh, God. I remember from Guild Wars. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
We would have to, in the World versus World, our guild leader would like prevent people would be like, I have to go to work, let us go. And she was like, if we go, they will take the central keep. So it would be like 8, 9 a.m. We would be like, defend, waiting for our server to wake up, basically. Just defending the entire night so they could start logging in and we could just go sleep.
Yeah,
it was
in
rough.
fact, the first week in Atlas, that's actually what happened, right? Our base got attacked. I was like one of 4 left. We grabbed the at the time it was one of the ships and sailed it. I had to sail it for 6 hours before we found a place, right? That was crazy. That was crazy, man.
I literally was sitting there. I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I literally in a video game sailing and tacking for 6 hours?
It was like, oh my God, I'm like freaking tired.
It was like 2 or 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Something like that. I was like, this is
by the time we landed at that beach, it was like 3, 4 in the morning.
All right, your ship's here. I'm logging off.
Yeah, pretty much, right? You got it. We're going to bed.
So I'm happy with that idea of
yeah, for sure. I think that's a really neat kind of spin on things. I think that'll be good.
The problem with Wars though, that as a player who might not get into a big guild for me was that it had 50 player limit and the leading company would pick who goes into it. So it was possible that you might never ever get into a war. So I really wanted an instanced sort of matchmaking type PvP mode, and Outpost Rush gives that. So even if you never manage to get into a actual war by not getting chosen, you could still queue up for Outpost Rush and get your PvP fix, or rather war type PvP fix. Open world PvP, you can always just run around until you find people to fight with. But yeah, I'm really liking these PvP changes as well. I also read, I can't find where I read it, but you can now duel people. Oh wait, I saw it in the game. When you reach level 15, you can actually duel people, which is nice. Because during the preview event, we had to depend on the ethical sort of dueling code to actually duel with people. And every now and then someone would just break it. Someone would just running past. You are happily dueling with people. They would, jump in and start attacking. So now that there's actual dueling is very, very nice.
Well, that'll be
level rewards, right?
Yeah, level rewards, yeah.
No, it's actually level 10. Level 10 you can start dueling. I unlocked
it then. I should duel my friend.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
I thought it was 15 for some reason.
Level 15, you unlock your first house. So I guess you have to be level 15 before you can own a house. Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of neat. So level 5, you unlock your second weapon slot. Mm-hmm. Level 10, duels. Level 15, your first house. Level 20, your ring slot, right? So you can wear jewelry. Level 25, you get a camp upgrade.
Oh, okay.
30 is a second bag slot, which would be pretty good.
I want that.
35 is a second house. 40 is earrings. 45 is a third bag slot. 50 is invasions. So that's the corrupted.
Which one?
Invasions.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's the high level corrupted, right?
Well, that's when they are invading on your territory. Is that correct?
That's when they besiege you. Like AI versus player war type thing.
And then level 55 is your third house, and level 60, Outpost Rush. You're going to be max level for Outpost Rush.
So,
or at least in beta, you have to be max level.
Was there a third weapon during the preview event we played? I feel like we had 3 weapons. Am I remembering that completely wrong?
I didn't get to it.
Yeah, I didn't get to it either.
I must have imagined it that. For some reason, in my mind, I was running around with 3 weapons. It's been that long, people. It's been that long that we've been craving to get back into this game. Just starting imagining things in my dream. 3 weapons. 3 weapons.
Wait a minute. Could you have 2 weapons and a ranged?
Oh, probably. Is that a different?
It's not a difference now, right? So a weapon's a weapon, right? Whether it's ranged or melee.
I kind of feel like I had a sword and shield, a warhammer, and then a musket on top of it. Unless I kept switching back and forth between the two, and my brain counted that as like, yeah, you had this all 3 at the same time. I don't know.
I am not seeing level 5. You unlock your second weapon slot. I'm not seeing a third weapon slot unlock.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm double checking, but a third bag and a third house, yes, but no third weapon. No.
That was probably just my imagination at this point.
It's when you were sleeping, thinking you were God tier.
I'm gonna have all the weapons. All the weapons.
Also, the respec, right? So I was curious. I've been watching a couple streamers talk about this. Is this a beta thing? Is this up to level 20, level 10 that you're going to have a free respec?
20 you can respec for free. I think that's going to be at launch as well.
I couldn't remember.
Because
I would imagine being able to respec, but
yeah, it will
after,
be,
say, like you said, level 20, you gotta pay
to not let after level 20 you are. I guess it's either gonna use Azoth or maybe just coins. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't remember respecing during the preview event, so I'm not entirely sure. But I guess I'll see you tomorrow.
I did either.
Yeah.
But you'll see tomorrow.
That's pretty much what has changed and what our opinions are. Now, this was there's still like closed beta release notes as well that we might just quickly go over, but to just mention, like, this is our return episode, and since the beta launched today, we didn't really have too much. Well, I played for like 6 hours, but Sivian and Storms didn't get too much experience, and we were a little bit of all over the place, not really structured with our discussions. That's because we had this build up. We had this. So
it's okay. I like unstructured.
I do too.
It gets us to good places.
I mean, I'm telling you, if you let me, I'll record for another 3 hours. It's.
Well, no, not a game I gotta play, right? So
I mean, our record episode for Tales of Tamriel is 4 hours and 35 minutes, I believe, in duration. Yeah. So
we're gonna have to do one in game where we're all playing.
Are we for the beta? Are we doing a company, or are we just waiting for the release?
Try and throw a company together.
Yeah, you should. Is there folks in Hands of Fate who are also playing? Because last preview event, Alpha and whatnot, like we had Keludar, Alpha, they were playing as well.
Yeah.
You should do like everyone playing in Hands of Fate.
Baltia?
Yeah, I'm in the same one, so.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Which I was surprised to see how many servers they had. They just released more.
Mm-hmm. They did. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they did.
That's because they're all cloud-based. They could turn them out in an hour, right?
Yeah, right.
The power of AVS is flexing, basically. That's what I'm hopeful about the server, because in for example ESO, we always struggled with the server performance. We still do, and that's what I'm really hopeful about New World. that with the AVS backing it up, basically we want... Oh, my internet just died. Hello?
Well,
hey,
there we go.
the
My
pontification
internet
is
just
back.
died on me. Just complete blacked out.
You had this look of you're going to say like the verse chapter of the Bible. You're just phenomenal, and then you're frozen.
Yeah. I just looked like I was talking to. I didn't realize because nothing gave any indication towards it. So I was talking about something, and then I look over and I saw you guys frozen. I look over to my Streamlabs, and everything is frozen. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. We figured you dropped,
Yeah.
We're going to get a company going, do that, that's about it.
Yeah, we were just talking about, excited to get into the game and get a company going, really try and play around with those aspects of the gameplay and kind of see what rewards or stuff are out there for the company. So,
yeah. I mean, if you want to shout out Hands of Fate as well, the guild.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are multi-gaming guild. We're over out in Guilded. I don't know if we have, we'll put a link in there, but yeah, we're all about just getting together, gaming, having fun. So Storms, myself, are been around for a little while. Storms, you've been around for
a while.
A while.
Wow.
Quite a while.
Quite a while.
So yeah, we're pretty big into MMOs, just having fun. So
yeah, absolutely.
So handsoffate.org is actually still active. I updated it just recently with the gilded links and everything like that. So nice. It's for easy access. You can always
yes.
Also, apparently it's
gilded.gg/.
It's actually pretty easy link to gilded.gg/handsoffate. Apparently, it's not like Discord's link where it's gibberish. Discord then gibberish. Right. Yeah.
I can send a gibberish one. But yeah, it's honestly it's a great group of people and have a lot of fun. So
me on the other hand, I will be playing on EU. So if you are on EU, if you want to play on EU, and if you want to play together, hit me up. Currently, I'm on Fae, but after the launch, we'll basically decide a server and see where it goes. Join our Discord. Check out all the links are in the website dungeoncrawlernetwork.com, so you can access to all of those there. But yeah, we are really, really excited to be back. I mean, after the show, I'm just gonna go back to playing. I don't want to sleep.
I've just been staying in town, so Storms is already playing. So, what are you waiting for, Ark?
Yeah, you froze, Ark. I'm like, okay, time to play.
I was going to do it, but I didn't trust in my multitasking abilities enough to talk and like host the show and play. I was tempted though. I was tempted.
I have no multitasking. I do one or the other, so that's okay.
But yeah, basically, starting next week, we are gonna have more of a structure with the show, news, patch notes, tips and tricks as we find them, as we learn them ourselves. And I actually want to, just because of something I found today, I want to add a reading section to the show spontaneously, because I found a great piece of text in the world today, and I'm going to read that now. This is, from now on, the show has a reading section. Here it goes. I found this in one of the farms where zombies have taken over, or withered have taken over. Maybe if I write down my story, the nightmares will stop. Here goes. I was coming home late from burning charcoal in the woods. The moon was high, plenty bright enough to see by. Heard a strange noise from the eastern clearing, so I went to check it out. The clearing was filled with donkeys, a whole herd of them. Not grazing or walking around, just standing still, like they were listening to someone. The one closest to me had a bridle on, the leather all rotting away like it was 100 years old. I must have made a noise, snapped a twig like. They turned and looked at me, all at the same time. In the moonlight, I could see the whites of their eyes shining, rolling, rabid. They opened their mouths and screamed, a sound like no earthly donkey I ever heard. I ran. Couldn't have ran faster if all the devils of hell were chasing. The sound of their hoofbeats followed me through the forest all the way home. I can't ever tell my mates about what happened, or they'll laugh at me out of town. Imagine a bunch of donkeys being the scariest thing I ever saw. I read this today randomly, and I was like, I gotta read this on the show, and from now on I'm reading everything I find, because I did not expect a piece of story like this in this game.
They do have some pretty good scripts that are written in game.
Yeah. They have some good writers involved in this.
Yeah.
They really do.
In the preview event, I didn't really, I wanted to level as much as I can, as fast as I can, because I had very limited time to play. So I basically jumped all dialogues and everything, but this time around I really want to get into the story and lore of everything as well, and discuss that a bit too. Because that lore discussing is one of my favorite things in any game or any setting, universe I get involved in, and we'll see how deep New World goes by its own. I'm hopeful.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's something I'd like to look at a little bit more, is the lore.
Bless ye.
Well, I do know they didn't take my advice and make the boar skinning faster. It's still abysmally slow.
I wonder if that's good. That gets faster by your level, though. Like, the more skinning level you get.
With a different type of knife. Yeah, it might.
Yeah.
In the preview I found, it does with the weapon, the tool. Mm-hmm. And the higher level you are in that trade, it also yields more.
There you go.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So you'll get, I forget what level it is, but regardless, you can keep farming the same thing. Once you reach a certain level of that trade, you will start getting better materials and more yield.
Yeah. And that's
cool.
another thing why a master harvester will greatly benefit Outpost Rush as well, because he will be able to, he will be able to gather resources much faster than everybody else. It's just zoom around, grab the wood, grab the things, whatever.
Absolutely.
Man, there's so many things to look forward to. So many links.
Absolutely.
To look forward to. All right, so that sort of brings us to the end of the show, unless there is something else you guys want to discuss. It was a nice first episode back, 4th episode ever in a year.
Yeah, I think it sets up really well for next episode.
Yeah,
sure, absolutely.
And from now on, we can actually do weekly and continue for as long as basically we have things to talk about.
Keep going.
Yeah. I have no limit. I'm bringing Tales to 300 episodes. I'm open to doing the same for New World. Celebrate milestone after milestone. I don't know if New World is still in chat, but just give us things to talk about and we'll talk about it nonstop. It's
oh yeah.
We love rambling on and on.
That's it.
I actually wasn't expecting to see them in chat. They gave someone a key too. Someone was like, how do I get a beta key? And they slapped it in chat right there and then. Yeah. So thank you for hanging out too. It's actually really encouraging to see this involvement right off the beginning, and that makes me happy and more willing to push on with the New World content creatorship. I'm excited for what's to come.
Absolutely.
I'm hyped.
Me too.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be crashed because I really won't sleep for a very long time. I have too much adrenaline and everything coursing through my veins right now. But yeah, all right. So, anything you guys want to plug? Where can people find you? Any final thoughts, Sivian?
You can find me over on Gilded, over with the Hands of Fate. You can also find me over at Dungeon Crawler Network on Discord, and you can find me on Twitch as well. Stream from time to time. That's Sivian21 is my name. So
there you go, Storms.
Well, you can find me in the same two places. I've put Digital Pepper Studios on hold for a little bit. We may be changing services, but for now, you find me at the Guilded or on Discord.
There you go. And as for everything we do, you can follow all of those over at dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. There you can find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Discord. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork if you want to help support the show, keep the metaphorical torches lit, and grab some benefits on the way. You can also leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, which would greatly help at no cost since this is a new podcast, and that will let people know that we are a real podcast and we say real words, and sometimes it matters. Thank you all so very much for joining us on this episode of the New World Compendium, and we will see you all next week. Have a great week, everybody.
See you next week.
Later.